Hello, great people. Welcome back to our channel. We're so excited to have you again. Fortnight ago, a particular news was really trending on the media space, and it has to do with the presidential pardon that was granted to ex-governor who were convicted for corruption cases to the tune of, I think, 1 billion naira. And these governors were from Taraba State and Plateau State, talking about Governor Jolly Nyame of Taraba State and Joshua Dariye. These two guys, that's these two ex-governors, were prosecuted and sentenced for stealing 1.16 billion naira. That's for Joshua, and then 1.6 billion naira for Jolly Nyame. So right now, the federal government has been dragged to the court to ensure that they take these steps against these two criminals that have been pardoned or granted pardon by the federal government. We're going to be looking at these two news in a jiffy. But before we do that, if you've not subscribed, kindly hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish our videos. All right. According to the news, Socio-Economic Right and Accountability Project (SIRAP) has filed another lawsuit against President Muhammadu Buhari. The body wants the Federal High Court in Lagos to reverse the pardon granted to former governors of Plateau, Joshua Dariye, and Taraba State ex-governor Julie Yame. The duo, serving jail terms for corruption, were recently pardoned alongside 157 others convicted for various offenses. The ex-governors were investigated, prosecuted, and sentenced for stealing 1.16 billion naira and 1.6 billion naira respectively from their states between 1999 and 2007. In suit number FHC/L/CA/825/2022, whether the SIRAP told the court to determine whether the exercise of the power of prerogative of mercy is compatible with the public interest and the corruption fight. SIRAP is asking the court for an order setting aside the pardon for the sake of the integrity of Nigeria and the country's international obligation. The right group argued that by allowing the presidential pardon, many influential politicians will continue to escape justice for their alleged crime. The presidential pardon power must be exercised in good faith and in line with the provision of Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution on Fundamental Human Rights. The suit reads, joined as defendant is Abubakar Malami, senior advocate of Nigeria, and who is also the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. The suit filed by Kolawole Oluwadare and Ogbeyemi Owolabi said Section 15, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, provides that the state should abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power. Article 26 complements the more general requirement of Article 30, paragraph 1, that sanctions must take into account the gravity of the corruption offenses. No date has been fixed for the hearing of the suit yet. In the latest Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, Nigeria scored 24 out of 100 points, ranking 154 out of 180 nations surveyed. The country fell 5 places from the rank of 149 in 2020, placing in the second most corrupt country in West Africa. This issue has been receiving so much public opinion. A lot of people have talked about it, and most people feel that it was absolutely wrong for the federal government to consider these two people. And why there was so much pressure was that these guys are involved in corrupt practices. And here we have Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho, who are just freedom fighters seeking for independent nation for their own people. But yet they were not pardoned, neither was political solution even considered in their own case. But here are two big fishes who have eaten so much from their states without any form of stubbornness. They empty the purses of their individual state, and all of a sudden they've not even spent up to like 3 or 4 years in prison. They are being granted presidential pardon. And that's why Sirab has decided that if that is the case, then if truly prerogative of mercy of the president must be exercised, it shouldn't be for such people. Yes, because there are a lot of people out there who are in prison. If you hear their cases, if you get to hear how minimal and minor their cases are, you wouldn't even allow them to stay in prison. Those are the kind of people that they should extend this prerogative of mercy to. Not people who have been fully prosecuted and have been found wanting and been thrown into jail. And guess what? When EFCC came up to give reports about what those guys did or how much they expended to make sure that that case was a success, you won't believe it. Some people even put their life in line during the period of the investigation. The witnesses that also came out, a lot of them had to put their life in line, and all of a sudden you are telling us that these guys are to walk free. Yes, the president have all the right to exercise his right as the president, but then there are a lot of things that must be taken into consideration. Don't forget that one of the key expectation of these Nigerians towards this current administration is fighting of corruption. Yes, because President Muhammadu Buhari, when he came on board, gave Nigeria that huge promise, and some people had already spoken of it, that far back in 1983 he had help in fighting corruption. That was why most people even accepted to vote for him to come into power. So when this issue came up, hey, Nigerians started screaming, say, this cannot be permitted. You can't allow these big fishes who have drank so much from the wealth of their individual state, and for them to walk free after staying in prison for a few days. I think one was supposed to serve a jail term of 14 years and the other one was supposed to serve for 10 years. And, it's not even up close to that number, and they're about walking free. The people scream. I think that's why Sirap decided to go an extra mile, because this is going to be an eye-opener for some of those who have been involved in fraud. By the time they see this kind of mercy extended to these two guys who have eaten to the tune of 2 billion naira, other people will say, no, Allah, now, so me too, I need to get involved in this corruption. All what it matters is for me to slip into APC and get the required, mercy and be declared a saint once and for all. You understand? And also, if nothing is done about it, even the EFCC will be careful the way they treat criminals, like corrupt criminals. They will be very careful, because they do not want a situation whereby at the end of the day the president will stand with them and then they will be at the risk of their life. So all of that has been taken into consideration. I feel that's why Sirab had to push a little bit further to take the case to court to see how they can return these two corrupt criminals back to the prison. So that's just the situation of things. What do you have to say? Do you think at the end of the day Sirab will win? Let's interact in our